Some connections don't begin with excitement, they begin with clarity. A calm feeling that something about this person is different, not because of how they look, but because of how your heart feels around them. In life, not every meeting is random. There are moments when Allah is quietly guiding your steps, placing people in your path not by chance, but by purpose. You may not realize it immediately, but certain signs begin to appear small, subtle, yet deeply meaningful. When Allah intends goodness for you, He doesn't just send a person. He prepares your heart, your mindset, and your life to receive them in the right way. What feels delayed may actually be protection. What feels confusing may actually be direction. And sometimes the one meant for you doesn't come with noise or chaos, but with ease, respect, and a sense of peace you can't explain. So pay attention, because the signs are there. Here are 7 clear signs that Allah is guiding you toward the right person. Your heart stops chasing what confuses you. Sometimes through difficult experiences, that confusion is not a place where peace lives. When something repeatedly unsettles your heart, leaves you overthinking, or forces you to question your worth, it is not a sign of something meant to stay. Allah does not guide you toward what keeps you in constant doubt. Instead, He gently pulls your heart away from it, even if your emotions resist at first. You may notice that you no longer have the same energy to chase unclear situations. Messages that lack sincerity no longer excite you. Promises that carry no consistency begin to feel empty. The heart starts to slow down, to step back, to observe rather than react. This is not a weakness. It is awareness being placed within you by Allah so you can protect what matters most, your peace and your dignity. When a person is meant for you, they do not leave you guessing your place in their life. They do not make you feel like you must prove your worth over and over again. What is written for you carries a sense of steadiness. It does not rush you into anxiety, nor does it pull you into emotional confusion. And when you begin to understand this, you stop investing your time in what feels uncertain. It is important to recognize that not every strong feeling is a sign of something good. Intensity can sometimes come from attachment, not from truth. A connection that constantly disturbs your inner calm is not a sign to hold on tighter. It is a sign to step back and ask yourself whether this is bringing you closer to Allah or pulling you away from the balance He wants for you. Allah in His mercy often removes the desire from your heart before removing the person from your life. You begin to feel less attached, less interested, less willing to tolerate what once seemed acceptable. This is protection unfolding quietly. You are being guided away before deeper harm can reach you. And even if it feels confusing in the moment, clarity begins to grow when you allow yourself to let go. There is also wisdom in understanding that chasing what confuses you often leads to emotional exhaustion. The heart was not created to live in constant uncertainty. It was created to find rest in what is clear and good. When you stop chasing, you are not losing something valuable. You are making room for something that will not require you to question your peace. A believer who trusts Allah begins to accept that what is meant for them will not need to be forced. Effort is natural in any connection, but it is not one-sided or draining. When something is right, it flows with respect, honesty, and understanding. When something is wrong, it leaves behind confusion, doubt, and restlessness. Learning to recognize this difference is part of spiritual growth. Letting go of confusion does not mean closing your heart. It means protecting it. It means trusting that Allah sees what you cannot see. There may be reasons hidden from you, intentions you are unaware of, or outcomes that would not have been good for you. By stepping away from confusion, you are placing your trust in the one who knows every detail of your life. And when you choose clarity over confusion, something changes within you. Your mind becomes quieter. Your emotions become more stable. Your decisions become more thoughtful. You are no longer reacting from fear of losing someone, but acting from a place of self-respect and trust in Allah's plan. This is how guidance begins. Not always through loud signs, but through a calm understanding that you no longer need to chase what disturbs your peace. What is written for you will come with clarity, not confusion. And when it arrives, your heart will recognize the difference without struggle. You become more selective without hardening your heart. That protecting the heart does not require turning it into stone. It requires wisdom. You begin to understand that not every person deserves the same level of access to your time, your attention, and your emotions. This understanding does not make you cold, it makes you careful. And there is a difference between the two. You still care, you still show kindness, you still treat people with respect, but you no longer ignore what feels wrong just to keep someone close. You pay attention to how a person speaks, how they act, and how consistent they are over time. You begin to value what is real, not what is impressive on the surface. This is how selectiveness forms without closing your heart. When Allah guides you, He does not remove your ability to love. He refines it. He teaches you that love without boundaries can become harmful. Giving without awareness can lead to regret. So you begin to set quiet limits, not out of fear, but out of understanding that your heart is an amana, a trust given to you, and it must be handled with care. You start noticing that character matters more than charm. Words become less important than actions. Promises are no longer enough on their own. You look for consistency, sincerity, and respect. These qualities may not always appear quickly, but they are the ones that remain. And when your focus shifts toward these deeper values, your choices begin to change. Being selective also means you are no longer trying to fit into places where you do not belong. You do not adjust your values to be accepted. You do not silence your concerns to avoid losing someone. Instead, you stand firm in what you know is right. This does not push the right people away. It filters out what was never meant for you in the first place. Your heart remains soft. You do not become harsh or judgmental. You understand that everyone is on their own journey. You give people respect, but you do not give everyone closeness. You offer kindness, but you do not ignore your own boundaries. This balance is what keeps your heart alive without exposing it to unnecessary harm. It is important to realize that being open without discernment can lead to repeated pain. When lessons are not learned, patterns repeat. But when Allah grants you awareness, you begin to recognize those patterns early. You pause, you reflect, and you choose differently. Not because you are afraid, but because you are growing. A selective heart is not a closed heart. It is a guided heart. It knows that what is meant for it will not require it to lower its standards or compromise its values. It trusts that Allah's plan is better than any forced connection. So instead of rushing into something uncertain, it waits with patience and clarity. This kind of selectiveness also brings a sense of calm. You are no longer pulled in every direction by emotions. You are not easily influenced by attention or temporary feelings. Your decisions carry weight. Your choices reflect thought, and your heart feels more stable because it is no longer reacting to everything around it. Trusting Allah plays a central role in this. You understand that what is written for you cannot be taken away by being selective. You are not missing out by saying no to what feels wrong. You are being protected from what could have harmed you. And this belief allows you to stand firm without fear. This approach changes the way you experience connections. You become more present, more aware, and more intentional. You are not searching blindly. You are observing with purpose. And when something aligns with your values, your deen, and your sense of peace, you recognize it without hesitation. This is how Allah prepares you. Not by closing your heart, but by teaching it how to remain open in the right way. You learn that true strength is not in giving your heart to everyone, but in giving it wisely. And when you reach that understanding, you are no longer easily shaken by who comes and goes. You remain steady, knowing that what is meant for you will arrive at the right time, in the right way, with the right intention. Your life starts restructuring quietly. Guidance is not always loud. It often unfolds in silence, through small changes that seem ordinary at first, but carry deep meaning over time. You begin to notice that your daily life is not the same anymore. Your routine starts to change. The things you once prioritized slowly lose their importance, and new priorities begin to take their place without force. You may find yourself stepping away from certain environments. Places that once felt comfortable now feel heavy. Conversations that once filled your time no longer bring the same sense of ease. It is not that everything around you has changed suddenly, but your awareness has grown. Allah opens your eyes to what helps you and what harms you, even in subtle ways. With this awareness, your time becomes more valuable to you. You become more mindful of how you spend your hours, who you give your attention to, and what you allow into your life. Distractions that once consumed your energy begin to lose their hold on you. You are not running away from life. You are choosing a better way to live it. Your connection with Allah also begins to deepen. You may feel a stronger pull toward prayer, toward reflection, toward seeking meaning beyond what is visible. This is not by coincidence. When Allah intends to guide you towards something good, He strengthens your relationship with Him first. Because the right connection in your life must be built on a strong connection with your Creator. As your inner world becomes more stable, your outer world starts to align with it. Decisions become clearer. You no longer feel as lost when choosing between options. What once felt confusing begins to make sense. This clarity does not mean every answer is revealed instantly, but you feel more at peace with the direction you are taking. You might also notice that certain people naturally fade out of your life, not through conflict, but through distance. The conversations become less frequent. The connection weakens without effort. This can feel uncomfortable at times, but it carries wisdom. Allah removes what does not align with your future so that it does not interfere with what is meant for you. You may be introduced to new influences, not always people, but sometimes ideas, habits, or opportunities that guide you toward growth. These additions may seem small, but they begin to shape your path in a meaningful way. Each step brings you closer to the life that is written for you. This quiet restructuring also teaches you patience. You realize that meaningful change does not happen overnight. It builds gradually, layer by layer. You become more accepting of the process, trusting that every adjustment has a purpose. Even when you do not fully understand what is happening, you feel a sense of calm, knowing that Allah is in control. Your mindset begins to shift as well. You stop reacting impulsively and start thinking with intention. You reflect before making decisions. You consider the long-term impact of your choices rather than just the immediate outcome. This level of awareness protects you from mistakes that once felt unavoidable. Another important part of this process is letting go. You release habits that no longer serve you. You distance yourself from patterns that bring you stress or confusion. This is not always easy, but it becomes necessary. Growth requires space, and space comes from letting go of what is no longer beneficial. In this journey, you begin to understand that preparation is taking place. Allah is arranging your life in a way that supports what is coming next. The changes may feel unrelated at times, but they are connected in ways you cannot yet see. Each adjustment is part of a bigger picture being formed with precision. Your heart also becomes more settled. The urgency you once felt begins to fade. You are no longer rushing to force outcomes. You move with more patience, more trust, and more awareness. This calmness is a sign that you are no longer trying to control everything. You are allowing Allah's plan to unfold. What makes this process powerful is its subtlety. It does not rely on dramatic events. It happens through consistent, quiet changes that reshape your life from within. And when you look back, you begin to realize how much has shifted without noise or struggle. This is how Allah prepares you for what is meant for you. He does not only send the right person into your life, He prepares your life to receive them in the right way. And by the time that moment arrives, you are no longer the same person you once were. You are more aware, more grounded, and more aligned with what truly matters. Through this quiet restructuring, you are being guided step by step, not rushed, not forced, but gently directed towards something better. And even if you cannot see the full picture yet, You can trust that every change has a purpose and every step is leading you exactly where you are meant to be. Delays no longer frustrate you the same way. A believer begins to understand that timing is not random. What feels delayed is not forgotten. What feels slow is not denied. Allah controls when things arrive, how they arrive, and in what form they reach you. When this understanding settles in the heart, impatience begins to lose its grip. You still desire companionship. You still hope for something meaningful, but the feeling of urgency starts to soften. You no longer feel pressured to force something just because time is passing. Instead, there is a calm acceptance that what is written for you will not miss you, no matter how long it takes. Delays may have caused frustration. You may have questioned why things were not working out, why certain connections ended, or why opportunities slipped away. Those questions often came from a limited view. You were seeing the moment while Allah was seeing the outcome. Now your perspective begins to expand. You start to realize that every delay carries protection within it. There is wisdom in not receiving something too early. A connection that arrives before you are ready can lead to confusion. A relationship formed without proper understanding can lead to harm. Allah knows the condition of your heart, your level of maturity, and your readiness for what you are asking for. When something is delayed, it is being preserved until it can enter your life in the best possible way. With this awareness, your relationship with time begins to change. You are no longer measuring your life against others. You are not comparing your journey with someone else's timeline. You understand that each person has a path written specifically for them. What comes early for one may come later for another, and both are guided by wisdom. Patience becomes easier when trust is present. Without trust, waiting feels like a burden. With trust, waiting becomes a form of peace. You begin to live your life without constantly checking what is missing. You focus on what is present. You take care of your responsibilities, your growth, and your connection with Allah, knowing that everything else will fall into place at the right moment. You also begin to recognize that delays often come with unseen benefits. While you are waiting, you are being shaped. Your character is being refined. Your understanding is deepening. You are learning lessons that will protect your future. These lessons may not seem connected to what you are asking for, but they are preparing you in ways you cannot yet see. There is also a sense of relief that develops when you stop resisting delays. You no longer carry the weight of trying to control outcomes. You allow things to unfold without constant pressure. This does not mean you stop making an effort. You still take steps, you still make dua, and you still remain open, but your heart is no longer tied to immediate results. A believer also learns that delay does not mean distance from Allah. In fact, it often brings you closer. When something you desire is not given immediately, you turn to Allah more sincerely. Your dua becomes deeper. Your reliance becomes stronger. This connection is more valuable than anything you are waiting for. You begin to see that Allah is not withholding from you. He is choosing you, and what He chooses is always better than what you would choose for yourself. This belief removes the feeling of loss from delay. Instead of thinking something is being taken away from you, you understand that something better is being arranged for you. Even in moments where you feel uncertain, there is a quiet reassurance in your heart. You remind yourself that Allah's timing has never failed. Every blessing in your life arrived when it was meant to. Some came earlier than expected, some came later, but all came with purpose. This reminder strengthens your patience. Another important realization is that rushing often leads to regret. Decisions made out of impatience can bring consequences that are difficult to reverse. When you allow things to come in their proper time, you protect yourself from these unnecessary hardships. Delays in this sense become a form of mercy. Your emotional state also becomes more stable. You are not constantly affected by what is happening around you. You are not shaken by what others have or what you feel you lack. There is a balance in your heart. You are content with what you have while still hoping for what is to come. Trusting Allah's timing also teaches you gratitude. You begin to appreciate what is already in your life instead of focusing only on what is missing. This gratitude brings a sense of fulfillment that cannot be achieved through constant waiting alone. Your dua changes as well. You are not only asking for something specific, you are asking Allah to give you what is best for you, even if it is different from what you expect. This level of surrender brings peace because you are no longer holding tightly to one outcome. Delays no longer feel like obstacles. They feel like part of a process that is moving forward, even if you cannot see it clearly. You understand that every moment is carrying you closer to what is written for you, even if it does not look that way on the surface. And when the right moment finally arrives, you realize why everything happened the way it did. You see how the delays protected you, how they prepared you, and how they led you exactly where you needed to be. That realization removes any remaining doubt and replaces it with certainty in Allah's wisdom. This is how patience transforms. It is no longer something you struggle with. It becomes something you live with naturally. You move forward without fear of missing out, because you know that nothing meant for you will ever pass you by. You start recognizing red flags early. A believer is not meant to walk through life unaware. Allah gives insight to the heart that turns to Him sincerely. This insight is not loud or dramatic. It appears as a quiet awareness that allows you to see what is in front of you without being blinded by emotion. You begin to notice patterns in people, not just their words. You observe how they behave when things are easy and when things become difficult. And through this, you start to recognize what is genuine and what is not. Certain behaviors may have been ignored. You may have given the benefit of the doubt repeatedly, hoping things would change. But now, your understanding becomes sharper. You realize that consistent actions reveal more than temporary effort. Someone who is serious will show it through respect, honesty, and stability. Someone who is not will reveal it through inconsistency, avoidance, and confusion. This clarity protects you from investing your time and emotions in the wrong place. Recognizing red flags early does not mean assuming the worst about people. It means paying attention to what is clearly being shown. Islam teaches balance. You are not required to judge intentions, but you are responsible for noticing actions. When someone repeatedly shows signs that disturb your peace, it is not wise to ignore it. It is wisdom to step back and reassess. One of the signs you begin to notice is inconsistency. Words that sound sincere but are not supported by actions create imbalance. A person who truly values you will not leave you guessing where you stand. Their effort will be steady. It may not be perfect, but it will be present. When that effort is missing, it becomes a sign that something is not aligned. Another sign is a lack of respect. Respect is not only in how someone speaks to you, but in how they treat your time, your boundaries, and your values. If a person dismisses what matters to you, it shows a lack of seriousness. A connection that is meant to grow should honor both individuals, not require one to compromise their dignity. You may also notice avoidance. When difficult topics are ignored or conversations are delayed without reason, it creates uncertainty. A sincere person does not run away from clarity. They are willing to communicate, to explain, and to resolve. Avoidance, on the other hand, keeps things unclear and often leads to frustration. Recognizing this early prevents deeper emotional involvement. There is also the matter of emotional instability. Constant highs followed by sudden distance can leave you unsettled. A healthy connection brings balance. It does not pull you into a cycle of excitement and confusion. When you start to recognize these patterns, you no longer accept them as normal. You understand that peace is not meant to be replaced by uncertainty. Allah, in His mercy, allows you to see these signs before things go too far. This is a form of protection. You are being shown what could harm you so you can step away with awareness. Ignoring these signs does not make them disappear. It only delays the outcome. Recognizing them early allows you to make decisions that protect your heart. You learn not to let past experiences make you overly suspicious. There is a difference between awareness and fear. Awareness is calm and grounded. Fear is reactive and restless. When your awareness is guided by trust in Allah, it remains balanced. You are not expecting the worst, but you are also not ignoring what is clear. This ability to recognize red flags also strengthens your confidence. You no longer depend on others to validate what you feel. If something feels off, you take it seriously. You reflect, you observe, and you make a decision based on understanding rather than emotion. This independence protects you from being easily influenced. You also begin to accept that walking away early is not a loss. It is a form of strength. Staying in a situation that clearly lacks sincerity only leads to deeper pain. Leaving at the right time saves you from unnecessary struggle. And when you trust that Allah is guiding you away, it becomes easier to let go. A believer understands that not every connection is meant to continue. Some are lessons, some are reminders, some are tests of patience and awareness. When you recognize red flags early, you pass that test by choosing what aligns with your values and your peace. Your standards begin to rise naturally, not out of pride, but out of clarity. You no longer settle for what disturbs your heart. You look for what aligns with your deen, your character, and your long-term peace. This alignment becomes more important than temporary feelings. Through this process, your heart becomes more protected without becoming closed. You remain open to what is good, but you are no longer vulnerable to what is harmful. This balance is what allows you to move forward with confidence. Recognizing red flags early is not about rejecting people quickly. It is about understanding what is right for you and what is not. It is about trusting that Allah shows you enough for you to make the right choice. And when you act on that understanding, you protect your future from unnecessary pain. This awareness is a gift. It saves your time, your energy, and your peace. It allows you to move forward without carrying the weight of avoidable mistakes. And most importantly, it keeps your heart aligned with what is truly meant for you. Your self-worth no longer depends on being chosen. A believer comes to understand that worth is not decided by people. It is not increased when someone stays, and it is not reduced when someone walks away. Your value was given to you by Allah long before anyone entered your life, and it remains with you regardless of who chooses you or who does not. When this understanding settles in the heart, it changes the way you approach every connection. You stop measuring yourself by how others respond to you. If someone loses interest, you no longer question your value. If someone fails to recognize your sincerity, you do not feel the need to prove yourself repeatedly. You begin to see clearly that not being chosen by the wrong person is not rejection, it is protection. Allah knows what is suitable for you, and He removes what is not. Even if you cannot see the full reason at the time, this realization brings a quiet confidence, not the kind that seeks attention, but the kind that is rooted in certainty. You become comfortable with who you are. You understand your strengths and you acknowledge your areas of growth, but you do not tie your identity to someone else's approval. This balance allows you to remain steady even when situations around you are uncertain. You may have felt the need to hold on tightly. You may have adjusted your behavior, your words, or even your values just to keep someone in your life. That need begins to fade. You recognize that a connection that requires you to lose yourself is not a connection that will bring you peace. You no longer chase acceptance at the cost of your dignity. Self-worth also changes the way you respond to silence and distance. When someone pulls away, you do not panic. You do not rush to fill the gap or force communication. You allow things to unfold naturally. If a person is meant to remain, their effort will show. If not, their absence becomes an answer in itself. This approach protects your emotional stability and keeps you from unnecessary anxiety. Trusting Allah plays a central role in this transformation. You begin to believe that what is meant for you will not require you to beg for attention or chase after clarity. You understand that Allah's plan is not built on confusion or imbalance. When something is written for you, it will come with respect, effort, and sincerity. Knowing this allows you to walk away from what does not meet that standard without feeling a sense of loss. You also begin to see that your worth is connected to your relationship with Allah. the more you strengthen that connection, the less you depend on external validation. Your prayers, your intentions, and your efforts carry meaning that goes beyond what people see. This awareness gives you a sense of fulfillment that is not easily shaken. Another important aspect is how you view yourself in moments of difficulty. You no longer blame yourself for everything that goes wrong. You reflect, you learn, and you grow, but you do not carry unnecessary guilt. You understand that not every outcome is within your control. Sometimes things end not because you were lacking, but because they were not written to continue. This mindset also protects you from settling. When your worth is clear to you, you are less likely to accept less than what you deserve. You do not lower your standards just to avoid being alone. You prefer peace over forced companionship. This preference is not a sign of isolation. It is a sign of understanding that being alone is better than being in the wrong place. You begin to value yourself in a balanced way. You treat yourself with respect, and you expect the same from others. You do not demand perfection, but you do expect sincerity and effort. This clarity makes it easier to identify what aligns with you and what does not. Your emotional responses also become more stable. You are not easily affected by small changes in someone's behavior. You do not overanalyze every word or action. Instead, you look at the overall pattern. This calm approach keeps your heart at ease and prevents unnecessary stress. When you stop relying on others to define your worth, you become more present in your life. You focus on your growth, your goals, and your connection with Allah. You invest your time in what benefits you rather than what drains you. This focus brings a sense of direction that was previously missing. You also become more grateful for what you already have. Instead of feeling incomplete without someone, you recognize the blessings in your life. This gratitude strengthens your contentment and makes you less dependent on external circumstances for happiness. Letting go of the need to be chosen does not mean you stop wanting companionship. It means you want it in the right way. You want something that adds to your life, not something that takes away from it. This clarity ensures that when the right person comes, you are ready to meet them with balance and confidence. Your worth remains constant. It does not rise or fall based on people's choices. It is grounded in your identity as a servant of Allah and in the effort you make to live with sincerity and integrity. When you hold on to this truth, you move through life with a sense of peace that is not easily disturbed. And when a connection finally aligns with your values, your faith, and your peace, you will not feel the need to question it. You will recognize it from a place of strength, not from a place of need. When it's right, it doesn't disturb your connection with Allah. A believer begins to recognize that anything truly good for them will never pull them away from Allah. What is right does not compete with your faith. It supports it, it protects it, it strengthens it. When a connection is aligned with what Allah has written for you, it does not create distance between you and your ibadat. Instead, it encourages consistency, sincerity, and a deeper awareness of your responsibilities toward your Creator. You may notice that your prayers remain steady. You do not feel distracted or rushed when you stand before Allah. Your focus does not weaken. Your sense of hudur, your presence in worship, remains intact. This is a powerful sign, because anything that constantly takes you away from your salah, your remembrance, and your discipline is not bringing goodness into your life, no matter how it may appear on the surface. A connection that is right does not make you compromise your values. It does not ask you to ignore what you know is correct. It does not push you into situations that create guilt or regret. It respects your boundaries. It honors your principles. It allows you to remain firm in your deen without feeling pressured to change who you are. You begin to feel a sense of ease in how things unfold. There is effort, but it is balanced. There is communication, but it is respectful. There is care, but it does not come with control or confusion. This balance brings stability. It allows your heart to remain calm while your life continues to move forward with purpose. Another important sign is that your intention remains clear. You are not entering the connection for temporary satisfaction or emotional dependency. Your focus is on something meaningful, something that aligns with your values and your long-term goals. This clarity protects you from losing direction. It keeps you grounded even when emotions are involved. A believer also notices that the connection brings a sense of accountability. You become more aware of your actions. You are more careful with your words. You strive to improve yourself, not out of pressure, but out of sincerity. The presence of the other person encourages growth, not negligence. This kind of influence is beneficial because it pushes you toward becoming a better version of yourself. Your relationship with Allah remains the center of your life. It is not replaced or reduced. You still turn to Him in your decisions. You still seek His guidance through dua. You still rely on Him for clarity. The connection does not become your source of peace. Allah remains your source of peace, and the connection exists within that framework. You also begin to see that there is no constant fear of loss. You are not living in anxiety, worrying about whether things will fall apart. There is trust. Not blind trust in the person, but trust in Allah's plan. You understand that if something is meant to stay, it will stay through ease and effort combined. If it is not, then no amount of holding on will keep it. Respect becomes a foundation. You feel valued, heard, and understood. Your concerns are not dismissed. Your feelings are not ignored. There is a willingness to listen, to communicate, and to build something stable. This respect removes unnecessary stress and allows the connection to grow in a healthy way. Another sign is that the connection does not isolate you from what is good. It does not distance you from family, from beneficial environments, or from positive influences in your life. Instead, it fits into your life in a balanced way. It does not take over everything. It complements what already exists without causing disruption. You also find that your heart feels at peace, not overwhelmed. There is no constant cycle of confusion and reassurance. There is clarity. Even when challenges arise, they are handled with maturity and understanding. This steadiness is what allows the connection to remain healthy over time. A believer understands that anything that leads to sin cannot be a source of lasting al-khayr. When a connection encourages you to stay within the limits set by Allah, it carries blessing within it. It may not be perfect, but it is grounded in something that protects both individuals from harm. You continue to grow in your deen. Your desire to learn, to improve, and to draw closer to Allah remains strong. The connection does not replace that desire. It exists alongside it. This is important because your ultimate goal is not just companionship in this life, but success in the hereafter. There is also a sense of sincerity in the interaction. You do not feel the need to pretend or hide your true self. You are able to express your thoughts honestly, and they are received with understanding. This openness builds trust and removes unnecessary pressure. When something is right, it does not create chaos. It brings order. It does not disturb your peace. It protects it. It does not weaken your connection with Allah. It strengthens it. This is how you begin to recognize that what you are experiencing is not just emotional attachment, but something that has been guided with wisdom. The clearest sign is this: your relationship with Allah remains strong, and everything else fits around it without disturbing it. You continue to fulfill your obligations. You continue to grow spiritually, and the connection becomes a source of support rather than a source of distraction. When you reach this point, you understand that what is written for you will never come at the cost of your faith. It will come in a way that protects it, nurtures it, and allows it to grow. And that is how you recognize that it is right. Not every connection you experience is meant to last, and not every delay you feel is a setback. Sometimes Allah is guiding you in ways you don't immediately understand, removing certain people, slowing things down, and shaping your heart so you're ready for what is truly right for you. The one written for you will not come with constant confusion, nor will they pull you away from your faith. What is meant for you will carry clarity, respect, and a sense of peace that settles within your heart. Pay attention to the signs around you, because Allah does not guide randomly. Here are 7 clear signs that Allah is leading you to the right person.